Hi everyone, and welcome inside Desert Financial Arena for the SunDevilSource Postgame Show. I'm Gabby Chernoff, he's Chris Cartman. We're here following Sun Devil men's basketball's 80-65 loss against number 5 Houston. With this, ASU falls to 3-12 in conference play, 12-14 overall. They're now below 500 as of their last loss, of course, and this is their 6th straight conference loss. Houston, arguably the best team ASU has faced this season, and it was very evident if you were here watching it. Chris, what's the biggest thing you noticed as far as disparity between this very high caliber Houston team and Bobby Hurley's team?
Started about 90 minutes before tip-off. Houston, right where we're standing, big, physical, athletic, extremely intense in going about its warm-up. It looked like a practice on an off day. That's what it seemed like. It reminded me of something that I saw when I was a kid and I was in Hawaii. Jerry Tarkanian, UNLV's head coach, when they went undefeated, was leading his team through a practice, and I didn't have the context to understand just exactly how incredible it was that I was watching at that time. But from then until now, what I just saw from Houston was probably the most similar, over the years in terms of that intensity. And meanwhile, ASU was over on its side. Guys got their headphones on. They're hanging out. They're just kind of shooting random shots and whatever. Bobby Hurley even kind of referenced this in his post-game press conference. The Houston defense is otherworldly. It's a top 5 defense in the country in a lot of metrics. They just stifle you. ASU got 44 shots in the game. You got to make a lot of threes against Houston to be successful. That didn't happen. And then Houston doesn't turn the ball over at all, and is very heavily reliant on its own three-point shot. But then tonight had a lot of offensive rebounds and just outclassed. Bobby Hurley came into the press conference lightning fast, quicker than we've ever seen, because what do you say to your team after that? Hey, we got beat by a much better team.
Yeah, and with this much better team, like we said, it was very evident just how much better they are. But what did the Sun Devils not do well enough to kind of give them even a few more steps back from where we already started right here 90 minutes before tip-off?
Early on, it was like 25-20. ASU was kind of hanging in there, and then there was a bad stretch. I think Houston's bench dramatically better than ASU's bench, and they just are relentless with their energy. ASU's energy tends to kind of wane. They had some really good offensive possessions, and then they had other possessions where there was premature early threes, ball movement wasn't very good. They gave up too many second chance opportunities, too many turnovers, points off turnovers. Those are flaws that ASU's had really throughout the season that are more apparent when they play the better teams. And so this game just showed that again. Jaden Quain has played tonight. He still isn't all the way back from that ankle. You can kind of tell going up against the size and athleticism of Houston, and a bunch of those guys had foul troubles. And then Houston went on an 11-1 run in the second half, and the game was over.
And then a little bright spot, Bobby Hurley talked about these little moral victories that you can get, although the overarching picture is still a big loss. Alston Mason, 26 points on 9 shots. He's been quite the bright spot consistently as of late for the Sun Devils. What did you like from him tonight?
His efficiency was fantastic. You said there, he made 8 of 9 field goal attempts. Did a really great job of anticipating a lot of the ball screens and being able to get downhill to where he could score with floaters at the rim. He's ASU's best dribble driver, getting to the basket far and away, and he's their best ball handler. When he's not on the court, they really have taken a step back in terms of their ability to facilitate and create offensive opportunities for their teammates. He's been very good. A lot of the people around him have been inconsistent or hurt or disciplinary problems, and that's led to this very disappointing season.
And among the disappointing season, 7th straight loss at home. That's the 2nd worst streak since DFA was built. That's about
1974.
About 5 decades ever. So
before I was born.
So, I mean, kind of addressing the elephant in the room. What does this mean for Bobby Hurley and his program? Graham Rossini addressed the rumors a few days ago, said that, he's our coach. We're going to give him everything he needs to succeed. It's still not happening for the Sun Devils. What does this program look like right now?
Yeah, I thought Rossini's comments were strategically political. It's hard for me to imagine that there's not consideration being given to a coaching change at ASU. Now, I'm not reporting that that's happening, but given what you just said, 7 home losses in a row happened only once before. He's in his 10th season at ASU, and it's after a very encouraging non-conference season. This has turned very disappointing over the last month or so, right? And when you have the disciplinary problems that they've had, he got a technical tonight, but a lot of his players have had ejections for fighting, slapping of a player, a headbutt, a conduct detrimental. And Bobby Hurley's such an emotional person. It's hard to feel like the players aren't sort of taking on that energy and then having that be displayed in self-harming ways on the court. So just given the overall history of Hurley, having never been to a round of 32, pardon me, in the NCAA tournament, and the struggles that have happened this year in his 10th season, a lot of fans. This place was empty near the end of the game. The students have abandoned the team. I hate to say that, but very few students for a game against a top 10 caliber opponent. There were even people that were chanting or yelling to fire Hurley that we heard even from the student section. And our social media posts now, almost every one of them that I make is like, fire Bobby Hurley, he's had enough time to make a change, whatever. I don't really see how that will change. This season, after the way that things have gone in the last 6 games, the die has already been cast in terms of the perspective that a lot of fans have. And I don't think that is going anywhere. I don't know that a change is going to be made, but we're now at a point that doesn't happen a whole lot with ASU basketball. And in every prior time that I've seen this happen, it's resulted in a coaching change.
Now, say there is a coaching change. Bobby Hurley is out next year, which seems highly probable at this point. What does that mean for the guys who are currently on the team? You have younger guys with a lot of talent, Josan Sand and Jaden Quaintance. What does that mean for their future with the team and the overall recruiting? A bright spot for Bobby Hurley is his recruiting abilities. So what does it mean for big picture, this roster as a whole, if he does get the boot?
Yeah, he's always put together pretty good rosters. There's been a lot of changeover, guys transferring out prematurely. He's hit the transfer portal hard. He recruited some freshmen who have been really good. None of those teams exceeded expectations. And a lot of them haven't been able to gel to where you've had bickering, infighting, things happening. Look, this is a very difficult job. The arena's aging. The news came out just today about potential multi-year renovation. We don't know specifics. When you say multi-year, you're probably talking about a lot of the things that are visible to fans in the arena. The audio-video system, the bathrooms, the concourses, all that kind of stuff. And ASU needs that to compete in the Big 12. This is a very difficult job. That needs to be said. Bobby Hurley's got a lot of challenges that are not of his own making, but when every year you're kind of having to rebuild your roster, as they will have to again, because look, Austin Mason's gone, Adam Miller's a senior, Bashir Jihad is a senior, BJ Freeman is a senior. You got 4 guys. You already had Josan Sand and said before the season even began he was going to be a one and done who planned to turn pro after the season. Now maybe he changes his mind. I don't know. Jaden Quaintance, of course, you want to try to keep him. And is it possible that Bobby Hurley could pull a rabbit out of his hat next year and surround those guys with a good nucleus of veteran players via transfer? Yeah, potentially he could. But it's going to be very difficult, more difficult than ever for him to do that because of what has happened this season and the lack of success that they've been able to have. And really even keeping a Jaden Quaintance or a Josan Sand seems to be more of a challenge to me and a higher likelihood than him being able to turn things around at this point next season. And that's part of the calculus that I think you have to make if you're Gramercini.
Well, the tides are certainly shifting here for Sun Devil men's basketball. They have 2 more home games left next week. Again, BYU in the week after. Again, Texas Tech. We'll have you covered through the rest of the regular season and, of course, in the Big 12 tournament. Until then, Gabby Chernoff and Chris Cartman for SunDevilSource.